Here with me now is Georgia Democratic congressional candidate, retired Brigadier General Shawn Harris. General, good morning to you, sir. Thank you for your time. You have such an interesting perspective on this because you're military, but you're also running as a Democrat, most of whom obviously overwhelmingly oppose this operation. Do you feel the same?
Well, Marky, I want to first say thank you for being on your show. But what makes me very different from everybody else is this. My last assignment was actually Israel. So when I saw the earlier clip of the bombs falling there in Israel and going into Lebanon, I have been there. I will say this. When I look at it or get to D.C., I'm going to look at everything and then vote for what's best for the nation. But I will also say that the president needs to come in and explain to the American people why we're in this war, how do we get in this war, and then how do we define getting out of this war.
Mm-hmm. I know that you say American people deserve clarity, Congress deserves a vote, troops deserve leadership with a clear objective. Just to be clear, had you been in Congress and had you been given a say on this, would you have voted to leave Iran alone at this time?
At this point, I would have to say I would go into the top secret briefing, see what was actually said, and then based on that and based on my prior experience, like I said earlier, I probably would have voted saying, yes, let's do it. But I would want to make sure that we go out and tell the American people what we're going to do before we actually did it.
Let me play some sound for you, sir, because the administration briefed the House and also the Senate last night, just amid confusion over the strike's justification. Take a listen to what Congresswomen Nancy Mace and Pramila Jayapal had to say about it.
The nation of Iran was further along and closer to getting a nuclear weapon than at any other point in world history. This needed to happen. It needed to happen now.
Imminent means immediate threat to the U.S. That was just not addressed at all.
General, is everyone not seeing the same intel on this? I mean, why is there such a stark division about how much of a threat Iran posed? I get Democrats saying, you know, I wish we had been given a heads up or given a say, but why is there such a stark difference on what kind of threat there was at hand?
Well, you know, the reality of it is that this has been an ongoing debate for a long time. It's just not this time, but many times before. The reality of it is less than 6 months ago, this past summer, President Trump told us that he actually took out all their nuclear weapon systems and all those kind of things. The reality of it is Iran has been working on things, but I do not believe that it was an imminent threat. I believe that Israel wanted to do this strike. We went along with them, and now we're trying to explain it.
General, you know, we're expecting the next press conference from War Secretary Hegseth here in just a couple hours' time. What more do you want to hear that they didn't answer or didn't address on Monday, just 48 hours ago?
Yeah, I look for him to tell us exactly what are the goals, lay them out 100%, and then on top of that, tell us what does winning look like. And then tell us how do we get out of this particular war and how long this time period is going to be. The other thing I definitely want to say before we get off the air is this, that the military is doing an outstanding job. I used to be part of CENTCOM. They are doing an extremely well job on the ground. That is not the issue. The issue is strictly how do we get into this war and then how do we get out of it? Because the last thing I think any of us want is another forever war.
And lastly, just what do you think that exit strategy will look like? You know, the White House is saying an estimate of could be 4 or 5 weeks, possibly longer. Yes. Is there any chance that this wraps up in that time frame? And do we see boots on the ground?
Well, you know, those are all the questions that we need to be asking the president and the Secretary of War. I will say this. I believe that they probably can get it done in the next 4 to 5 weeks, but it is so many different variables that you see in the Middle East right now. With all the Gulf states are getting involved or being hit, this thing can get out of control real quick. So that's why I believe the president needs to come on, speak to the American people and tell us what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we're going to get out of it.
Of course, we'll take those next comments live, that presser live from Hegseth at 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern when it happens. Brigadier General Shawn Harris, thank you so much for your time, sir. Greatly appreciate it.